Hi everyone, so a new update Cunning Stunts came out recently, and so far I'm enjoying it racing with my friends and stuff. But there are a few annoying things about the new stunt races that somewhat ruin the gameplay for me. And I guess you can call them flaws, which sometimes kinda cancel the whole idea of competitive racing when it comes to stunt races. So I decided to make a top 5 list of most annoying things about Cunning Stunts DLC races that I wanna see Rockstar somehow fix in the future. At number 5 we have the contact regime only. As of right now, a GTA mod and the non-contact mod are not available in the stunt races. Now don't get me wrong, I do not mind contact regime at all, and I like to play contact races from time to time, but only from time to time and not on a regular basis, simply because I'm more of a non-contact person when it comes to stunt races. Once again, I can enjoy contact stunt races, playing them for the first few times, but when people keep on ramming into you, hitting you off the road, spinning you out on a regular basis, it gets really annoying. And all of these things that I just mentioned become very evident when you play stunt races in full 16-player lobbies, which is the case most of the time. And why do I say that very often it ruins the competitive factor in stunt races? Well, because sometimes it has nothing to do with your racing skills, and you simply can't do anything about the fact that other players ramming into you, which completely messes you up and negates your driving skills. Like for example here. Now some people may say, well Hitter, in real life there is no non-contact regime and people also collide on a racing track from time to time. Well, this is true, but in real life, people are not trying to fuck you up on purpose, because that will put their lives and your own life at risk. And this is a freaking video game we're talking about. There are no risks here, other than a risk of losing a freaking race and getting butthurt. That's the only risk involved here. So please Rockstar, give us a freedom to choose what regime we want to play when the Stunt Creator comes out on August the 2nd. By the way, this one just takes the cake. Look at this guy. He's just waiting there to fuck people up simply because he's in last place. At number 4 we have stunt camera view. Now I'm not talking here about the stunt camera itself, which is an optional point of view whenever you do a jump, but I'm talking about a point of view that is enforced upon you when you're trying to adjust your camera while doing a wall ride stunt, a loop stunt, a spiral stunt, and also when you're driving inside the tubes. Now me being a person who loves custom stunt races and is somewhat experienced in them, I'm used to adjusting my camera sometimes while doing a certain stunt so that I can get a better point of view. And this is the case for many people out there. But unfortunately the new stunt race physics deprive you of this option, and now you can do anything with your camera. If you try to adjust it just a bit, you might get completely screwed over. As you can see right here, I have no idea where I am, where I'm driving, and what in the world is happening to me. And as a result I crash. The slowed down strips at number 3. Now don't get me wrong, I like the fact that Rockstar is introducing new features into the game, in this case the slowed down strips. And I myself fancy an idea of using these slowed down strips strategically, and I'll be definitely making some races like this, one which you have to avoid driving over the strips in order not to slow down. In other words, they can be used as tactically placed traps, which can get really creative. But I do not fancy an idea of them being used before the ramps to slow you down, because sometimes this happens. You see what I'm talking about? And the most unfortunate thing about it is that in some cases you can do absolutely nothing about it. Because let's say there are at least 10 players going down the ramp at the same time. They are destined to ram into one another. And someone will get completely screwed over and lose his or her place as a result. Now I have to say that it doesn't happen that often, but when it does, it's really annoying and unfair. Number 2, bad stunt exits. What I mean by this is that in some stunt races, not all of them, there are sections, whether it being an exit from a tube or a ramp, that whenever you drive at high speed you quite often will end up not landing back on the road by simply missing it or just overshooting it, as you can see it right here. Now don't get it confused with the bad checkpoint placement. The reason why I'm not being able to land back on the track here is because of poor map design. The thing is that you do not put a turn right after the ramp when you're making a stunt racetrack, but what you do is leave a wide long section of the road after the ramp so that when a player gets a lot of air, he can then safely land back on the road and get the checkpoint. That is just common sense. As you can see here, I'm struggling to get the one checkpoint right after the ramp with the boost, because there is a fucking turn coming up right after the ramp, and I just keep over jumping it. So what I'm trying to do here is I decide not to take the second boost, because they're obviously unnecessary, and I just wheel it a little bit, and it still messes me up. I still can land back on the road even though I get the checkpoint. Then on the second lap I have the same problem, so I respawn, I miss the first boost, and then I take the second boost, and I do not do wheelies this time at all, but the result is still the same. I still overshooting it. And finally, at number 1, we have bad checkpoint placement. Oh boy, where do I even start here? Well, probably one of the biggest issues with the new DLC stunt races. There are a lot of misplaced checkpoints that people just jump over all the time without actually getting these checkpoints. And it applies to both bikes and cars as well. The thing is that the majority of players are used to pull up wheelies on a bike, which, as everybody knows, makes you accelerate and also makes your bike jump further if you hit a ramp. So this is a commonplace technique that is used by many people. But the problem is that with the new physics in the stunt races, what happens is that you start gliding right away when you pull the wheelies, which is, to be honest, looks more like straight up fucking flying rather than gliding. You can now fly on a bike from one end of the map to another. Then, I shit you not, you can turn around and fly back. But now that people are aware of this, no one really is trying to glide, but it still doesn't help. You still keep overshooting all these freaking checkpoints. And some people may say, well, you should learn the map first. It's your problem that you don't know what's coming up and whether you should slow down or not. I disagree with that. I don't think that you have to know the map in order to perform well on it. All you gotta have is good driving skills, and that should be more than enough. But that's the point here, is that most of the time it has nothing to do with your driving skills again, cause it's just random. Like right here, for example, there is no freaking way in hell I could miss the checkpoint right there, but I did, and at the same time I did not do anything wrong. But here's when I get really pissed off. I couldn't get that bloody checkpoint right after the first ramp in the premium race. I just kept over jumping it. So then I thought to myself, okay, maybe I fucking suck at stunt races, even though I make them myself, but who knows, let me give Rockstar developers another chance. So what I do here is, first of all, I respawn right next to the ramp. This way I'm gonna have less momentum going on. Second of all, I'm using Anis, the car that doesn't accelerate fast right from the start, right? Then I also gonna go around the boost, cause I definitely don't need any additional speed. I also gonna slow down a bit, just a bit on the ramp itself. And finally, I'm not gonna lean forward while in the air to make my car fly further. Now let's see what happens when I do all this. Well, fuck it then.